Well, hello everybody out there. Welcome to another random video. And in today's video, we want to take another look at another really good quality cassette deck. This is the TD4400. Now, the reason why I'm doing this video is because those cassette decks are, well, some kind of underdogs, so to say. I mean, whenever there is somebody talking about high quality cassette decks, you always hear the same names. It's always JVC, Sony, Denon, Onkyo, and of course Nakamichi. But when was the last time you heard anybody talk about Harman and Kardon cassette decks? Yeah, exactly. But if you do find a discussion on the internet, and if you do find somebody talking about those cassette decks, they are always holding them in the highest regards. They say that those are some of the best sounding cassette decks ever made, and they go even as far and say that these cassette decks can even, or the sound quality of these cassette decks can even compete with the sound quality of various different Nakamichi cassette decks. So yeah, of course, this is something that got me interested, and I was searching around and I found this cassette deck, and I was really surprised as to how cheap and affordable they are. I mean, I got this cassette deck. Usually it costs something around 80 to 60 euros. I got mine for less than 50 euros, which is a little bit surprising due to the fact that this particular model, the TD4400, it actually used to cost over $400 back in 1991. So yeah, it is really surprising. But if you look at this cassette deck, if you look at the design and the features that it has or doesn't has, it's easy to see and easy to understand why these cassette decks are being overlooked by so many people for such a long time. I mean, first of all, the design. I do have to say I don't really like the design. It's an awful design in my opinion for a cassette deck. It is very similar to their CD player, the HD 7400, and yeah, I just don't like it when they take the design of a CD player for a cassette deck. You know, a cassette deck is supposed to look like a cassette deck and not like a CD player. But also, if we take a look at the features that this cassette deck has or doesn't has, it's also very understandable that it's being overlooked by so many people. I mean, this is only a 2-tape head, single capstan, belt-driven cassette deck without Dolby as noise reduction, without automatic or even a semi-automatic tape calibration. I mean, it doesn't even have a headphone jack, which, yeah, it makes the bias calibration a lot more complicated than it already is. So yeah, here we also have the display, which is showing me everything, like the type of Dolby noise reduction, and it also tells me whether or not I'm using type 1, type 2 or type 4 cassettes. But for some reason it doesn't even tell me whether or not the MPX filter is being activated. I don't know why they forgot about that. So yeah, the only features that it has is you can skip between tracks. I don't know how big of a pause you need for this. On the Kenwood cassette deck, it used to say that there needs to be a gap or some silence of at least 4 seconds. But this manual doesn't say anything about this. And we also have intro scan, which fast forwards to the beginning of a song. Then it plays 15 seconds of that song and then it continues to the next one. But that's pretty much it. So there is absolutely nothing on this cassette deck that would indicate or tell you that this is a really good high sounding cassette deck or high quality sounding cassette deck that could also compete with some Nakamichi cassette decks. Nothing except this one right here. Yes, CD transcription quality. Now what exactly is that? Well, that basically means that you can record music onto a cassette with the same frequency range as a CD, meaning 20 Hz to 20 kilohertz. But you have to be careful when you look out for stuff like this. So, for example, if you take a look at the technical specs of the smaller brother, the TD4200, it also says 20 Hz to 20 kilohertz, but this is only on type 4 metal tapes. So that's why I decided to get the TD4400, because here it says 20 Hz to 20 kilohertz on all formulations. But still, you shouldn't take this stuff too serious, because they measure this kind of stuff with a very low recording volume of minus 20 decibel. Now, hardly anybody is recording their cassettes at such a low volume. Although I do remember there were some people on Discogs complaining about some cassettes from hospital productions that they were just way too quiet. I don't know, maybe they did it on purpose in order to reach the full frequency range, but then again, if you record your cassettes at such a low volume, you also end up with a much more audible tape hiss, especially on type 1 tapes, and especially if you also don't use any Dolby noise reduction whatsoever. And by the way, I really don't know what the difference is between frequency response and large signal response. Maybe somebody can clue me in as to what this means. Yeah, so sorry that I can't really show you that much on this cassette deck, because there isn't really that much to show. Of course, there is also another cassette deck which also has a headphone jack, and you also have the ability to calibrate the bias a little bit better. This is the TD4600. But yeah, the TD4600, it also used to cost almost $700. And it still was only a 2-tape head belt-driven cassette deck without any significant features. I mean, yeah, those cassette decks are designed to give you a really good sound quality, nothing more and nothing less. And there has also been the TD4800, which is a 3-tape head cassette deck. And yeah, I don't want to know what this one would have cost if the TD4600 also cost $700. And yes, the TD4600, not only did it have better bias calibration, but it also had Dolby S noise reduction. But still, I don't know if that was really worth $700. But again, it is the sound quality that counts and not the features and whatsoever. So yeah, that being said, I hope you found this video still a little bit interesting, and maybe I got you interested in these kinds of, or in these types of cassette decks. And yeah, that's it for now. Thanks for watching, and I see you in the next random video. Bye!